Hello aspirants, this is me Yasmin Gill presenting to you the PIB highlights of 20th of January. So friends, do follow this course on this particular link, plus do not forget to rate and review the course as soon as the video ends. So let's begin. Firstly, we have under history, culture, especially culture, we have really good points here. So firstly, we have Dantan Grameen Mela. This particular Mela is to promote rural handicrafts and it is held at the location Dantan, Midnapur in West Bengal. Next, we have Tangalia weavers. So it is irrespective of this particular news. This is a different one. This is a different one. So let's know about Tangalia weavers. Government of India has recently decided to provide them with assistance of 90% to the tune of 90% in order to help them in purchasing power looms, etc. So that is not important at how much loan is given. Important is the art itself. So firstly, we'll go to what Tangalia art actually is. It is a 700-year-old indigenous weaving art of Gujarat. So it is mainly done on wool, but otherwise cotton is also used. Plus this art mainly belongs to Surendranagar district, Saurashtra area. So I hope you know where Saurashtra lies. So do check out in the map the Saurashtra zone of Gujarat. So it lies in the art is prevalent in Saurashtra region and it is found only in Gujarat. Plus this particular clothing is also used as a wraparound skirt by women of Bharwad shepherd community. Other than that, it is also used in home decor, shawl, dupattas, etc. So this is about the Tangalia weaving art. Next, under society related issues, we have CH Muhammad Koya National Awards. So first thing you must know, why are these awards given? In which field are they given? So they are given in the field of journalism. And who is the personality in the name of whom the awards are instituted? He was the former Chief Minister of Kerala who believed in the power of media to bring about social awareness and education. And who organizes these awards? Not that important. Obviously CH Muhammad Koya Trust along with Calicut Press Club. Next, we have certain random rankings of India regarding to press freedom. So firstly, we had a report by Freedom House, that is Freedom of Press report, which last year ranked India as partially free. Overall score was 41. Simultaneously, a report by Reporters Sans Frontiers, that is Reporters Without Borders, so it ranked India 133rd out of 180. Next, role of media in democracy. So this is also in context of these awards were being given, and in that context vice president spoke about the same. So you can note about these particular points. This can be directly used in your answer, right? So why is media's role important? Because recently we know that due to NDTV issue, media had come back into the news. So let's know about the role of media. So quick points. Firstly, inform people of democratic choices. Help them take those choices by solving the complex issues which they cannot understand otherwise. And this has to be done particularly in an age when information drives economic advancement. So there's a lot of information flowing down. In order to cut down that information from a complex issue to simple one, so that is what media should be doing. Also, it should make people aware of the international events, particularly important. Why? Because right now all the countries are connected so well, and international events impact people's day-to-day life as well, because there's a lot of diaspora also involved, right? So this is one point. Second is to promote efficient public debating. For example, like Rajya Sabha TV does, right? So through its big picture episodes, etc. So promote public debates. Other than that, let people be efficient decision makers. Make them, enhance them with the power of information so that they turn into efficient decision makers. Plus, keep a check on the abuse of power. In case some injustice is done, bring it to limelight. Next, do not favor any political party. Go for political pluralism. Promote all the viewpoints. Let people decide on their own. Lastly, help leaders to keep attuned to public opinion as well. So in that context, they act as a bridge between the political leaders and the citizenry. Next, Gandhiji's idea on media. So this particularly can be written when paid news is in paid news is the question, right? But otherwise, yes, you might obviously use them in some essay or so. As per the situation allows. So firstly, what is the idea is, Gandhiji was never in favor of earning money via newspapers. So he was never in favor of commercialization of media. So in that context, he never used to publish any advertisement regarding the newspapers which he wrote. So which were the newspapers and editorials he wrote? Indian Opinion, then he had Young India and Harijan. So these were the three newspapers. Other than that, as per Gandhiji, three objectives of the press should be: first, understand popular feeling and give expression to it. Secondly, obviously one is very popular one, which is to check the popular defaults, whichever defaults are done by government. And the third one, arouse among people certain desirable sentiments. For example, efficient public debating, etc. So that sentiment should be aroused in nationalism, etc. Next, we have Gandhiji and his ideas continued. So this is a quote by Gandhiji. It actually sums up the same idea, that is, media should not be commercialized. You can go through the quote. Next, we have issues in higher education. So this is from an article of Indian Express. So let's go through it. See, higher education was in news since last budget because government came up with Higher Education Financing Authority. So let's go through it. Firstly, three main issues assessed, that is reach of higher education institutes, equity and quality. So what has happened right now is, firstly we'll be going through problems. What has happened is, in the context of lot of expansion going on, what has happened is quality has been compromised. So this is also a question which you might face even in your interviews in case you are an engineer or from a medical background. Government is on a spree pushing up for new AIIMS, IITs, IIMs, but what has happened is quality degradation is taking place. Next, we have very popular problems such as faculty shortage, vacant posts. Last year we came up with the news of proxy teachers as well, particularly in engineering institutes. Then we have deficiencies in books, and you can also relate this particular issue of deficiencies in book with the recent photocopy verdict. So therefore is the need for photocopy and so on. If libraries are sufficiently equipped, maybe that issue wouldn't have arisen at all. Then we have rote learning, outdated curriculum. Other than that, you have capitation fee, a big issue in medical and engineering colleges. So this is mainly prevalent in western and southern India. Then we have politically managed student loans, and that too from public sector banks. Plus a few years back, the erstwhile Planning Commission also came up with the report saying that only 17% graduates are employable. So our employability has decreased overall. And then we have research quality is very poor. So in context of research quality, you can use a particular word which is predatory journals. So what are students doing is, they are students as well as teachers, they're coming up with predatory journals. In fact, India has been found to be a big player in this thing. So predatory journals are sort of what you may call as plagiarized journals, right? So they are not original ideas, rather copied ones. So that is what that is the research which is going on, unfortunately. So what's the way out of all this, and what are the way ahead for the higher education reforms? Firstly, two things must be done. When a student leaves his school, so what can be done is, he or she can be given two options. One is to go for diplomas, which is the popular thing done in Germany, so it's a German model. Second thing is the 3-year usual college that we usually do, 3 or 4 years, so that is the California model. Either of them, but do not mix them. Other than that, student loans should be provided heavily so that there's equity promotion. Also in context of last year's decision whereby IITs increased their fees, this is equally important. Then we have a provision of full autonomy, but a sort of minor sort of checks, right? So that the autonomy doesn't convert into cronism, right? So autonomy is one thing which has to be given, particularly in faculty selection, promotion, etc. No politicization of issues such as UGC. Then we have independent auditing of the funds of universities and accountability to legislature. Next, we have as per the faculty reforms go. So firstly, every faculty must be reviewed every 3rd year, and based on whatever journals or whatever new ideas he has come up with, whatever new research papers he or she has published, then on the promotion should be done, and then on the salary should be fixed. So there should be no fixed salary, rather there should be flexible salaries to act as incentive. Plus distance learning, the quality has to be upgraded and used to its fullest. Then one thing is very lacking in India, which is education industry interface. Even UPSC had asked question related to this. So in US, there is a very strong linkage between education and industry. So education knows what are the needs of industries, and simultaneously industry keeps on telling the education that this is the amount of research and this is the direction of research which you should be pursuing. Lastly, as I told you before, balancing autonomy and cronism, which US has done very well. And how is it done so? By promoting a culture of competition. So this is how higher education can be rectified. Then we have the very popular Jallikattu issue. So again from Indian Express, see the context, you must be aware of it. Tamil Nadu is pushing for an ordinance to allow Jallikattu, but centre's hands are tied. Why? Because the issue is sub judice. So you can go through all this context which you must be already aware of. So these are previous happenings. See, now what has happened is, more than a difference between traditional and modern rights, etc. Traditional are the Jallikattu rights, and the modern ones are the rights pushed by animal rights activists. Now the issue has taken a different turn. Why? Because now the issue lies in the hands of judiciary, right? So the question now arises is that, should judicial diktats or judicial orders, can they actually bring about a change in the traditional practices? So should a top-down approach be followed in such cases? Particularly when what has happened is that legal battle has turned into a matter of Tamil pride. So Tamilians are feeling that this is a sort of an order which is passed on prohibiting them from following their particular culture, and that too a culture which has deep cultural roots. It has been followed since times historical. So that context, it has turned into a very different issue. So therefore, top down approach might not be the right solution. Rather, appropriate regulation rather than outright ban might be the right approach. Next, we have under international relations the same issue. We'll be continuing it. Indian Ocean Rim Association and MSME. So, few small points. IORA Secretariat located at Mauritius. Then this workshop has been organized for MSME. MOU which has been signed. So, the workshop was organized by Ministry of MSME and MEA, that is Ministry of External Affairs. Plus, do not do the figure of this globally. What does MSME mean and what does MSME signify? This is just for your information, but do be aware of these particular facts and these particular numbers from India. Next, we have under economy LMCS. So what is LMCS? LMCS is Lean Manufacturing Competitiveness Scheme. So this is pertaining to MSME sector, and National Productivity Council is the implementing authority of this particular scheme. So what is the aim of this scheme? The aim of this scheme is to improve the overall productivity of MSME by reducing the waste. It began in 2009. It was very successful, and now it is being upscaled to 500 clusters, whereby initially it was only for 100 clusters. Next, we have first Steel Consumers Council meeting. Not that important. It is to be held in Mumbai by obviously Ministry of Steel. Then we have International Green Week, which is being celebrated at Berlin in Germany. Under environment, we have water related efforts by Government of India. So though there are a lot of many efforts, so we'll be mentioning here only three. One is Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, which will be focusing on twin goals. Har khet ko pani, that is give the water to every field. Then we have more crop per drop, which speaks about water use efficiency. Second point, National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture, which is among the various other missions which comes under National Action Plan. So in this particular mission, focus is also there on soil and moisture conservation techniques, mainstreaming the rainfed technologies, and so on. Lastly, we have National Water Mission separately. So this is for conservation of water and minimizing its wastage, plus ensuring equitable distribution. So these are just three, though you may think about more in this particular sense. So these are the MCQs which were asked in today's session. One is related to section 123 of RP Act. One is related to Indian Ocean Rim Association, and the third one related to Black Buck. So friends, that's it for today. In case you find the initiative useful, do not forget to rate and review. Thank you so much.